I was doing a podcast earlier today with my partner. We have this podcast about parenting online, and we were looking at some really, crazy topics about human relationships, and I wanted to explain this idea that when something is further away from now, it's really hard for people to connect it to the present, and this applies in things like criminal activities. Yeah, if somebody does something bad or criminal and they're caught now, then they suffer for it. There's something negative. There's a punishment. But if
Yeah.
there's a period of time before they're caught, it's like the criminal activity lowers in importance, and the
Huh?
punishment is less for that, because it's more complex. Now here's the example, and this is why. See, there were a couple of stories on the news recently about this is really difficult topic, which is the topic of rape. Yeah, where women said that something happened 10 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Horrible cases.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't follow it all, but
I me
basic
neither, but
basic psychology is all the same, right? So,
yeah.
and people are saying something happened 10 years ago, and there's it doesn't matter if you like it or you don't like it. What happened 10 years ago is like ancient history most of the time. And if something bad happened and you catch a criminal, you want to do something, okay. But here's the example, right? That's very abstract. I'll try to make a real
Okay.
example. Okay. Imagine you have a bicycle.
Yeah.
And you go somewhere and you leave your bicycle and you come back and your bicycle is not there. Somebody took your bicycle.
Okay.
Somebody stole
Yeah.
your bicycle.
Yeah.
And so you look around and you see someone on your bicycle, and you're like, and you catch them and you're like, give me back my bicycle.
Okay.
Right? Which it's kind of a pretty normal reaction, right? In that
Yeah.
kind of situation. Yeah. And you take your bicycle back and you're like, yes, don't take my stuff, right? Now, imagine a similar situation. You go away, you come back, there's no bicycle, but you can't see anyone, right? You can't see anyone, you can't see your bicycle, the bicycle has gone.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, what to do? Then go forward in time, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you see someone riding your bicycle, right?
Yeah.
Can you do the same thing?
Yeah, probably not. There is time. Yeah.
You can't because
Your expressions isn't so fresh.
time changes the act. Whether we like it or not,
Yeah.
time changes it. And there's a problem because you don't know if somebody stole your bike and they sold it to somebody and they sold it to somebody else and they
Yeah.
sold it to somebody else, and maybe the person on the bike bought the bike from a shop and it's legal. Maybe everything they did is right. Maybe everything they did is legal. And so people forget that the time changes the crime, and that if people are not, that's why if people are not caught at the time, if you don't report the crime at the time, it's very difficult to do anything later. If you don't catch the person at the beginning, it's very difficult to do anything. Maybe it's not a bicycle, maybe it's a car that somebody steals from you or something, but it's really, if the person is not caught in 24 hours, they're not going to be caught.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is going to happen. And time changes things. And all of these people complaining about things that happened 10 years ago, it's just like, well, yes, it was wrong, but how are we going to go back in time 10 years and do something about this? We can't. It's really crazy. It's like, as a social philosopher, Stefan Molyneux has this argument about the terrorist attacks of September the 11th, 2001, where he says, it's not important. He said, on September the 11th, 2001, it was very important. He said, no, it doesn't matter. Because it's gone, it's done, it's finished, you can't change it. You know, time changes things. So it's interesting. It's also similar to you can be really frustrated or angry about something in the evening, and you wait till the next morning, and the next morning you're a bit more relaxed about the problem. Right? And all the people are the same people, all the same things happened, but you put that period of time in there, and somehow everything changes.
Yeah.
It's the people didn't change, the actions didn't change, but time itself changes things.
Yeah.
So that's another interesting philosophical point. So I thought I would share that because it was part of a conversation I had already today, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, let's move on.